Hey everybody, it's me making another video. Just got home from work today and I just thought I'd bring you a video today since it's 5:24. Usually I was gonna do a video like around 8, but I want to do a video today. In a real good mood today. So today this is probably gonna be a two-part video. So usually since most of my videos I've been talking about wrestling and the wrestling news and WrestleMania, and I'm gonna be doing a WrestleMania video, two WrestleMania series Thursday and then Friday and Saturday. I thought I'd give you a different video that's non-wrestling related, since a lot of movies. Since I already did the worst fighting games ever made, and then I did a movie debate, the best and the worst video game to movie adaptations. I thought I'd do a video today on a video game video where I talk about the worst movies that are based, the worst movie based games that were ever made, and there's a lot of them. I have on this list around like 13 of the worst movie based games. These are like bad video games from movies. Well, movies that got profited off of, well, video games profiting off of movies and doing video games about the movie. So these are the worst games that were based on the movie that they were added from. So let's get started with this video. So I got a list of 13 of the worst, and I'll start with 13. And I start with Bad Boys for the PlayStation 1. If you remember that game, this was a horror. The movie was pretty good, but when they turned this into a video game, this was just a mess of a video game. I mean, the controls were horrible. The voice acting was terrible. I mean, where was Martin Lawrence and Will Smith in this game? I mean, they weren't in this game, as you had two B actors doing the voices for Martin Lawrence and Will Smith for the Bad Boys video game. They were awful, and I mean, they had terrible graphics in this game. Half of the time you didn't know who you were shooting at or who you were shooting with. The music in this game was just terrible. The camera, can't stress enough about the camera. The camera was terrible. The AI is about as dumb as the AI can get in this video game, as the AI just doesn't react to anything that you do to it. And this was just probably one of the worst games. And this game was a disgrace to the Bad Boys franchise, which is only two Bad Boys movies, but there's a third one coming away all along. But this was just a disgrace to those two movies, and a disgrace to Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. Well, slap in the face to Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, who did the Bad Boys movies, as this was just a terrible video game. And I recommend, if you play this or if you see this game for the PS1, because you'll see a lot of copies of this on eBay and stuff like that, avoid this game at any cost, because this game is just terrible. And the boss in this game is just, they got lazy with the boss in this game. Is they just, the bosses are the bosses are like something that a 5 or 6-year-old came up with. I mean, they could have did a better job with some of the bosses in this game, but they couldn't even do that right, and that's what makes this game awful. It makes this list at number 13. Number 12, we got Cliffhanger for the Super NES and the Sega Genesis, and I believe there was a Game Boy port. This was a horrible game. I mean, there's a lot of reviewers who did review this game, and they went off, and I can understand their frustration, as this game is horrible. I mean, this game is, I mean, when you play this game, it starts off fun, but then when you keep fighting the same generic enemies over and over again, then that's when the fun just dies down, and that's what you get in this game. I mean, you get a boring gameplay, you get a lot of bullshit moments in this game, you got a lot of unresponsive controls in this game, you got a lot of terrible level designs, and the music is just terrible, as it just keeps looping through the whole game. I mean, they could have did a whole lot better with the music in this game, but they didn't do that, and that's what made this game so bad, and it was so frustrating to play this game. Is all that stuff that I said, and again the music, and then the music at the beginning that keeps looping over and over again. I mean, who the fuck thought that adding all this stuff was fun and that you can have a good time playing this game? I don't know who. Sony Soft, I believe, was the one that created that game, and they should be ashamed for creating this game, because this game was just terrible. Worst game ever. Number 11, same as number 12. This is Street Fighter the movie. Whether it's the arcade version or the Sega Saturn version or the PlayStation version, whatever version on any systems, they're still terrible. I mean, the graphics were horrible. They had a lot of cheap characters in this game with Zangief, E Honda, and Akuma, and many other characters in this game. I mean, the AI is about as hard as the AI can get in this game. As the AI just shows no mercy as it beats the living shit out of you. I mean, you can't pull any moves out on the AI, as the AI will just counteract everything you throw at the AI, and that's what makes this game so bad. And the levels in this game are just terrible. The level designs are horrible, and they got lazy with some of the levels as you keep playing a different character in each of the same levels. I mean, they got real lazy with that, and then the controls are bad too, and then the bad voice acting, which is from the characters from the game, from the movie, so you know it's horrible when you have characters from the movie do the voices for the characters in a video game. Just bad, and just stay away from this game, as this is like the shit stain of Street Fighter. This was a game that pretty much almost killed Street Fighter, well, pretty much got people not to notice Street Fighter, but then they picked it up with many other Street Fighter games. But still, this was a horrible game, and I recommend you stay away from this game. Number 10 is the same thing, Home Alone for the NES or the SNES, whatever. I'm gonna talk about the NES version of Home Alone. This game was bad. It was boring. As all you do is walking around in the same house, walk around in that same old house, getting chased by the same burglars, and throwing the different traps that they have inside the house. Also, there's so many glitches in this game, it's not even funny. As you go down in the basement and you get stuck, when you get to a particular part in the basement, you get stuck at that part, and it's just frustrating playing a game like that when it has so many glitches in it. And then the level designs and the graphics for the characters is just bad. And then the music is terrible, as it keeps looping over and over and over again. Even after you die, it keeps looping. They got real lazy with the music in this game, and it shows, as this was one of the worst sorry. This is one of the worst video games that I've ever played. And as a kid, I played this game and I thought I'd have fun, but in the end, I was just tearing my hair out because I couldn't believe what I was playing, because this is just a piece of shit game. Number 9 is Home Alone 2 for the SNES or the NES or even the Sega Genesis. The controls are horrible in this game. The weapons are pretty bad. The enemies are pretty horrible in this game, and the level designs are pretty bad. The bosses are pretty funny, but also kind of disturbing, as the first boss, I believe, is a chef. Every time you hit him, he keeps taking his clothes off, and it's like, what the fuck were they thinking when they created this boss? I mean, you got kids playing this game, and you got a boss taking his clothes off every time you hit him. I mean, there must have been a child molester that made this game, because this is just horrible. I mean, I don't know who came up with that idea, but that wasn't funny at all. As you got kids playing this game, and it just kind of takes away from everything, and then everything else is just horrible. This is an awful game, worst game ever, and I recommend you stay away from this game. Pretty bad. Anyhow, sorry about the coughing. Stay tuned for part 2 of the worst movie-based video games.